Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Scrap Mechanic, and today I have an idea for a stupid vehicle that is kind of like a hovercraft, but it doesn't technically hover. So I guess you could just call it a fake hovercraft. So the idea is that it's gonna be sensor detecting the ground, just like a normal hovercraft would in Scrap Mechanic. But instead of those sensors triggering thrusters, I want to see what happens if I have those sensors triggering pistons that are lining the bottom of the hovercraft, pushing it back up into the air. Then we're just gonna put some thrust on it to go forward and have suspension steering, I suppose. The image I have of this vehicle working in my mind is entertaining, and I want to see if the reality matches what I have in my mind. And now that I've put the image into your mind with my very poor description of what I'm trying to do here, we'll see if it matches what you have in your mind too. You'll have to let me know down in the comments after I do this. Okay, now you might think you want this to be light since you want it to be pushed up into the air constantly, but I'm actually going to make it out of metal because I don't want it to get flung up into the air. I want it to just kind of stay at a stable location, and I think the lighter it is, the less stable it's actually going to be. More weight is going to equal more stability for this, I'm assuming. I could be completely wrong about that, but what we get is what we get. All right, so I'm just going to start with a standard metal base plate with a seat on top, and now we need to put our suspension steering on it, which I rarely use nowadays. But this should be as simple as that, and then we hook this up to it, and now I think we should have suspension steering already ready to go. Look at that. Okay, so now we have the interesting part. We have to put our pistons on here. Now, I don't know how many pistons I should put on here, but I think we're going to do this like I would do a normal hovercraft, where I have my base centered pistons that are going to be facing straight down, and then what I'm going to do is add some outer layer pistons that are going to basically be doing pitch and roll correction. But these center pistons are going to be mainly height adjustment. All right, here we go. So now I need to adjust the sensors so that they match the distance that I want the thing to go off the ground, which I think is 7 because the pistons themselves are, yep, it's going to be 7. Oh, that's not how that's supposed to work at all. Oh, okay. All right. So here is how it behaves currently, which is kind of how everyone's first hovercraft behaves. So I'm going to adjust the speeds of the pistons a little bit, make sure that they're not going to be too strong, because I want them to kind of eventually equalize out a little bit. This isn't so bad right here. Yeah, look at this. This ain't so bad at all. And this is definitely kind of having the hovercraft feel to it. Oh. Okay, so now that we have these things going, now is time for the more complicated ones. I'm going to have some sensors pointing at angles on the outside of this vehicle, and these are going to be the real, like, angle corrections of this thing. And then we get to put some actual thrust on it, which is just going to mess things up even more. All right, so as you can see, I'm really going to cover my bases here. I'm going to have all 4 corners plus all 4 sides for a total of 8 stabilization pistons. Okay, guys, I'm putting logic on this thing, so wish me luck. Okay, so the way I'm gonna do the sensors is each corner is gonna have 2 sensors crossing beams, essentially, to detect when these corners are near the ground in both directions. So for pitch and roll. If this corner gets detected by either of these sensors in either direction, it's gonna trigger this corner piston. But if this front one gets triggered, and this front one gets triggered, then it'll trigger the middle piston. So it's only going to trigger the middle piston when both sensors detect that the front is going downwards, and it's only going to trigger the corner pistons when it's just angling towards that corner in the front direction or the side direction. Okay, so here's what it currently behaves like, and I'm not happy with it. And I think what I need to do is I want the center pistons to not be sensor triggered. I think they need to be constantly being triggered in an alternating fashion, so it's kind of like just having a consistent upwards thrust to kind of equalize the height, and then the side ones are going to respond to the ground to keep us more stable. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right, this is almost work. Look at that, that's what it like messes up every so often. Well, you get the idea, right? I think I need to double the pistons so I can have twice as much, like, stability going in between all those pistons. Okay, I added the extra pistons, and all it did was waste a bunch of my time and make it worse. So, this is the current version now, and I think what I need to do is I need to also angle the pistons that are on the edges for the stabilization, because right now they're going straight down, and you can see when it tilts and you go straight down, you're actually going at a very inconvenient angle into the ground. And I think it would be better if they were angling out towards the ground. It'd be kind of like cambering your wheels. It's going to make you less likely to tip over. So this is going to require some adjustment. Okay, I think I've done it. I've required a lot more bearings, a lot more adjustments, but they should all angle outwards now to create kind of like a spider feel. And this one is clearly not. Some of these are very different. Oh, wait, what? Okay, so this is weird. That is always on, but these ones are not, even though the angle should be identical. What? Somehow this sensor detects this, but this sensor does not detect this. Oh, no. Okay, I know how to fix that. Tedious fix, but simple fix. I just gotta move all these sensors out by one. And then I gotta redo the bearings and redo the logic gates. All right, I think it's all hooked up. Let's see how it does. Oh boy, oh, it just like side shifted. Oh, look at this. This is so much more stable. Oh, I think we may have our fake hovercraft. It's kind of like a spider hovercraft. It's really interesting to watch. Okay, there's only a few more things left to do. One, we got to add some thrust to it to actually make it capable of going forward. And I'm going to add some stuff on top and maybe even on the bottom to make it look slightly better than just a slab. But let's check. Oh, yeah, the steering works just fine. Oh, this is going to be interesting. When we go, I'm just worried how the friction's going to work as we're like hitting the ground. All right, guys, welcome to the new and improved, well, not really improved, it's just a new design of the fake hovercraft. Everything's the same, I just added a lot to it, and I added some thrusters to it so we can go forward, and it's both better and worse than I expected, believe it or not. Now, you can probably tell that I was inspired by a Black Widow when I painted this, so it's kind of like a Black Widow spider because it has 8 legs, even though they're not really organized the way a normal spider is. But I'm gonna go forward here and you might be able to understand what I mean by it's both better and worse than I expected. So you can see that the pistons are doing their job. They're keeping us above the ground, just like a hovercraft would do its job to keep itself above the ground. But friction is a problem. It's more of a problem than I thought it was, and this is where it's worse than I expected comes into play. Because it doesn't maintain a very consistent speed, unfortunately, but is better than I expected in that it's pretty stable, and as I say that, it goes through the ground. Okay, we recovered. It's better than I expected in that it stays upright, and it goes where you want it to go pretty much reliably. I didn't expect this thing to be very reliable of a creation or a vehicle, but it is. It's just extremely inconsistent with the speed because of the friction. It's probably all of the web slinging this spider's been doing. It's got sticky feet. So yeah, other than the incredibly annoying friction problem that keeps us from actually going anywhere particularly fast, oh, it does not like uneven terrain, just like a normal hovercraft. We've bottomed out our hovercraft. I guess either I need to make the side ones shorter or I need to make the middle ones a little bit longer because this shouldn't be allowed to happen. So here, if I make this 6, yeah, okay. All right, this is starting to get out of the weeds now. There we go. Okay. I just had to make a 1 block adjustment to those pistons underneath. Oh man, this is the absolute worst terrain for a piston-based hovercraft to go over. Uh-oh, wait, what? Do I have a messed up connection? Because that front piston should be going right now. Oh, I did mess up the connection. Oh, I don't know if I would have ever caught that if that just didn't happen. Yeah, so our front piston that whole time was not triggering under the right conditions. Will this magically fix all of our problems? It appears no. To be honest, I didn't expect it to, but hey, this is where we're at. Well, all right. I mean, I'm getting across the map, but if you've ever wondered what I meant by fake hovercraft, I think by now you should probably get the idea that this is why it's a fake hovercraft. It is worse in most ways. Hold on, I'm trying to think of the way that it's not worse. It's No. No, it's more entertaining to watch, in which case mission accomplished. Once again, a stupid idea brought into reality in Scrap Mechanic. Leave a like if you enjoyed that. And if you have any other suggestions for stupid ideas, leave them down in the comments below. If you want to see more stupid ideas, then you're bound to find plenty in this playlist right here. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.